There are really only a handful of things about independent YouTube self-production that come close to making up for the complete lack of job security, capriciousness of the platform's stiflingly anti-creator corporate policies, or the knowledge that this nonsense is all going to come crashing down with the next completely unpredictable technological shift, sending the 98% of us who didn't become millionaires by shrieking anti-Semitic obscenities over shitty jump scare games, fleeing back into media retail jobs that no longer exist. But you know, being your own boss and thus having nobody tell you that you can't do the same topic 2 weeks in a row is definitely one of them. But seriously though, this entire industry is a horrifying pantomime of industrial structure with absolutely no long-term stability, making your continued support both vital and deeply, deeply appreciated. Anyway, yes, I am still riding high on the joy that is seeing the return of Mystery Science Theater 3000 to television. Well, to Netflix, but I watch it on my television because that's what it's for. Granted, it's not hard to still be high on it when, thanks to my work schedule, I've only been able to watch as far as The Land That Time Forgot at this point, but since we're able to see the full episode roster, I am able to, yes, join the rest of the internet in doing a list of movies I would love to see turn up in Season 12, should there be one, and there should. For the record, to keep this from just being a cheesy movies Bob has heard of list, I've tried to restrict the potentials to movies that would comfortably fit the established parameters of the show, meaning nothing too recent and nothing with excessive gore or sexuality that couldn't be edited around and still be funny, as Joel Hodgson especially has always tried to keep the series family-friendly. So let's do this. Number 10. Captive Wild Woman. Fans of Svengoolie are probably familiar with the largely forgotten Wild Woman trilogy, an otherwise overlooked chapter of the Universal Monsters catalog that starred Aquanetta, at least in the first two, as a female gorilla who's been artificially evolved into a humanoid woman by mad scientists. Slow and silly in the MST3K appropriate way, one imagines they'd have a special kind of fun with the old-timey, retro-sleazy exploitation aspect of the goings-on, which continuously draw leering, none-too-subtle parallels between Paula the Wild Woman's untamed animal sexuality and Aquanetta's played-up exotic racial ambiguity, i.e., ooh, is this acceptably white-passing lady actually an insatiable jungle woman? Yeah, and now you know why Paula isn't often included with the other Universal monsters anymore. Number 9. Captain America 1979. Honestly, if it turned out that Hodgson and the new MST3K production team had looked at the 70s Marvel and/or DC serials and decided, no, we don't want to do that because it'll look like we're chasing a fad, I would respect that. Part of what's great about the revival is that it doesn't feel like it's straining for present-day relevance, other than the comedians having an appropriately modern frame of reference. But if it was on the table, either of the two Captain America TV movies are easily the worst of that whole bunch and would likely make great episodes. Number 8. Hercules 1983. I happen to unironically love Lou Ferrigno's weird 1983 sci-fi fantasy reimagining of a Hercules movie, but by any objective measure, it's a laughable mess of a thing that not only feels perfectly suited to the series on its own, but is now retroactively tied to the MST3K canon by being another infamous work by Star Crash director Louis Coates, aka Luigi Cosi. And everything that's already made that legendarily silly Star Wars pastiche a new fan favorite is present in triple strength in Hercules, I promise. Number 7. Ghosts Can't Do It. Okay, caveat, I understand and respect why this one might be considered a no-go as well. I don't want to see MST3K doing partisan political comedy just to do it. It's never been what the show was about, and that's been for the best. That being said, it is hysterical that the sitting president of the goddamn United States of America has a Razzie-winning major feature role as himself in a terrible late 80s Bo Derek movie, and you have to imagine they'd have fun with that fact. But even beyond the Donald, the movie, which for the record is about an old rich guy who kills himself because his heart condition won't let him have sex with his much younger wife, and then comes back as a ghost so they can both scheme to find and murder a young hot guy so the ghost can take over his body to have sex again. No, really, this is a movie, is solid material for Jonah and the Bots, and as Avalanche has reminded us, doing movies with recognizable former stars opens up rich new veins of humor for the series. Number 6. Frankenstein Conquers the World. I tried really hard not to just make this a stuff I've already shown you on Schlocktober list, but this one really fits. It's a not-so-great kaiju movie made even sillier by the use of a human-looking monster amid the usual Toho model and monster suit work, and some generally bizarre plotting all around. Yes, the sequel, War of the Gargantuas, would also be a fitting choice, but I think this one is much more riffable, mostly because once it gets going, War of the Gargantuas kinda kicks ass. Like, that would end up being the best kaiju movie they'd ever riffed by default, by quite a margin. Number 5. Something animated. Alright, this is kind of a cheat because I know Hodgson and the others have stated in the past that animation is harder to riff consistently, and I wouldn't want to see them just pile on after the fact, done-to-death stuff like Food Fight or the animated Titanic movie. But if they could find the right one, I would be so down for it. Maybe one of the early Harmony Gold or Jim Terry anime releases with the really unfortunate dubbing, or the incredibly bizarre Gumby movie since they already did the one Gumby short. How about Attack of the Super Monsters? Yes, another Schlocktober movie, but one that combines live-action kaiju stuff with animation. I could get behind that. Number 4. Latitude Zero, a mad scientist, Lost City, monster action hybrid movie generally regarded as one of the better non-Godzilla Toho offerings of the era. Similar in some respects to The Land That Time Forgot from this season, but with the added benefit of wacky 1960s Japanese design and fashion sensibilities, and a supporting role for Cesar Romero of all people. Number 3, Inframan. If you follow this show, you've heard of Inframan already. Not only would this be likely as close as we'd ever come to seeing Mystery Science Theater tackle Super Sentai and or Power Rangers, which is more than enough reason to do it in my humble opinion, it also seems that someone in the new production team is already a fan of it, considering the very familiar costume designs for the Moon 13 skeleton crew. Number 2, this is vintage 1970s schlock about a mad scientist who's secretly conducting experiments to gradually transform his daughter's clueless boyfriend into a cobra. And yes, they really did just release it as S. That's the actual title. S. Just S. I feel like if you can't at least get a full half episode's worth of material out of the name just being S alone, you probably shouldn't have that job to begin with. Number 1, From Hell It Came. Yeah, okay, it's one more Schlocktober movie, but really, of that whole catalog, I have a catalog, this is easily the one that feels the most like a Mystery Science Theater 3000 target. Bad acting, dated 50s social interaction storytelling, legendarily awkward-looking monster that we see way too much of. How can you look at Tabanga and not want to know what Tom and Crow, and now Gypsy because she can come into the theater more often, which is so great, have to say about him, that. Providing it strikes the new writing staff's fancy, and hey, maybe it doesn't. Maybe the default 1950s drive-in monster milieu doesn't hold the same sense-memory appeal to millennial comedy writers as it did for my generation, which is fine, I guess. But if it did, I could see this being a new era classic to sit alongside It Conquered the World, Amazing Colossal Man, A Creeping Terror. In any case, that's my list. Agree, disagree, let me know, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. Either way, I hope you've all enjoyed my completely transparent, passive-aggressive form of cosmic begging for another new season, because now that this is back, I never want it to go away again. Seriously though, please make more of this. Everything is bad now, we really need this. Hey gang, here's a question that keeps coming up. If your handle is MovieBob, where are your movie reviews? Well, my old reviews are in a lot of places. You'll find many of them on my YouTube channel, but you'll find the brand new ones on Geek.com, an awesome site that's also your one-stop news source for science, TV, gaming, technology, nerd culture, the works. You can find all my reviews directly by going to geek.com/author/bchipman, because that's my real name, and you can get regular updates on all my reviews and all of Geek.com's other great content by signing up for their kick-ass newsletter at subscribe.geek.com. And don't forget to also subscribe to the Geek.com YouTube channel, where you'll find the videos that accompany my reviews and tons of other great content too. Remember, that's Geek.com, the Geek.com newsletter, and Geek.com on YouTube. Make sure you don't miss out on all the latest MovieBob reviews. You can also check out my own new website, MovieBob Central, where you'll find my blog, links to all my work, and shop for my books, ebooks, and future MovieBob products. And please remember to like these videos, share them with all of your friends, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching another MovieBob production.